Hey homies, it's Zach, Ohio Skater, making another video. You may notice that the room is different. This is because I moved into a different apartment. It's in the same apartment complex that I have always lived in, well, have been in for a while now. But I moved to a different room because there was a fire in my building. It didn't happen in my room. It happened on like the bottom floor. I was at the top floor and there's only 3 floors. So the smoke from the fire rose up to my room and got everywhere in all my room and got into everything and kind of it sucked. So they're redoing that room and it's going to take them a while to redo that room. So they offered me another room. So I moved into another room. So that's why this room is different. Yeah, so, yeah, that was crazy. I can't believe I never talked about that, but yeah, there was that fire. But it wasn't a big deal. No one got hurt, I don't think. They put it out real quick. It was just a small fire in the storage area. But anyway, so it's March. It is Women's History Month. And, I was thinking I was on Discord today, and I've been using this server that's like a feminist server, and it's a good server. It's got a lot of people, and it's really active, and so that's why I like it. But it's cool. And yeah, I figured, I'm in this feminist server, and I told them I'm thinking of ideas to make a video about, and I was like, I'm in this server. Got me thinking about feminism. It's Women's History Month. I want to make a video about feminism. So I am going to make a video discussing feminism. I have alluded to it or kind of stuff like it in the past, but if you watch my channel, I usually just talk about anarchism or socialism. But yeah, specifically today, we're going to focus on feminism. Yeah, I got some notes here. I wrote down what I wanted to say. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go for it. So anyway, I am a feminist. I would consider myself a feminist. I said in that ideological tier list that I am a feminist. I put it in good. I didn't put it under mine, but I did want to say that I am a feminist. But obviously I'm a man, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a straight man, straight cis man. And so yeah, I've always just thought feminism was common sense. you know. But like at the same time, I I was like, that's like the women's thing. That's women. It's feminism. So women should be making those decisions about feminism or whatever. Like women should be running the feminist movement. So I kind of took a back seat, but I consider myself a feminist. But I figured, it's a woman's thing. So like, just it's a women's thing. So it should be like so I shouldn't have like super strong opinions about it, like try to run the movement myself. But it's not like it is. I would say I'm a feminist. Not that it's not my thing, but it isn't my thing to like be an authority about, So, yeah, but definitely, like I think like all people are just humans, and I think all humans are basically equal, deserve equality, no matter what. We're all just humans. But yeah, practically speaking, for us to create a system in which, practically speaking, to achieve this, we must create a system in which all groups have equal power. All groups, not just women, but all groups have to have equal power politically if you want it to be equal. I think that's true. Yeah, so, and the system won't automatically just like make everything equal, so people gotta like fight for it. It's like a movement. That's what a movement is. Feminism is a movement. So like yeah, people may say like, oh, I'm fine with women or whatever, but I don't like super feminist women, or like I don't like why you gotta be all political, or why you gotta be all opinionated. But I think that's fine, because you have to fight for power. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it goes with anything. That's how it goes with any movement. You know what I'm saying? You have to like it's a political battlefield or whatever. I guess most battlefields are actually political war and shit, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean. But it's like a ideological battlefield, and you have to promote what you believe in if you want to spread and you want to gain momentum and you want to have equal power, you know? So I don't really care about feminism as like, oh, it's going to be taking over and I'm going to lose all my rights as a man just because, like, this woman said some really opinionated thing. I'm not going to think that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whatever. Life will go on, you know, and it's not a big deal. So, but I'm not, yeah, like, I'm not a genius when it comes to feminism. Like, I don't read a lot of, like, specifically feminist theory. But, you know, my whole life I've sort of just thought it's common sense. You know what I'm saying? It's just common sense. All humans are equal. We are all humans, and all humans are basically equal, you know? And I think, like, there's absolutely no reason why a woman can't do anything that a man can do. There's no reason. There's actually no reason. No logical, rational, real reason. There's no reason. Yeah, that's honestly what I believe. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so I guess, yeah. Studying political science in college, I did come across like feminism when I was like studying political science. And one time I did a project, not really a project, but like a paper, like a, not a big paper, but a semi big paper on gender quotas in legislatures around the world. So like gender quotas being like, if Congress said like, okay, this percentage of the legislature, Congress, has to be women, you know? And so I studied like Rwanda, which actually Rwanda has a 50% quota for women in its legislature or something like that. It's like either 45 or 50%, but their legislature is basically half men, half women because of this gender quota. And in Indian cities have experimented with gender quotas on the local level. Some of them have, yeah, on like city councils and stuff. And a lot of countries do this. A lot of countries do this. But I studied on various like levels. And then, of course, you have Rojava. And I've read Rojava's constitution, and it's very feminist. That's the Kurdish communities. It's not just Kurdish, but like the idea came from the Kurdish workers movement. But it's a diverse community, really. But like the Kurds in Syria on the border with Turkey in what's called Rojava, they have this system that is partly based on feminism, and it's like a libertarian socialist kind of like system, you know. And I read the Constitution, and it has like some stuff like gender quotas and stuff like that, but it's got a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah. Anyway, and I remember I was a student journalist in college, so I worked for the college's student newspaper. I was a reporter, and then I became one of the editors of like the news section, you know. So yeah, so I was a student journalist. This was in the late 2010s, and I was working at the student newspaper, University of Cincinnati student newspaper, The News Record, and we were covering the day of the Women's March. You know, like the Women's March, like you see on TV, all the women get out in the street and wear their pink pussy hats and hold signs, and it's a great time. Not just women, but men go too, but it's a women's thing, you know, like, but we were covering that. And so my job, I had to go to this meeting that was being held after the march, and it was being held by Black Lives Matter. And at that meeting, a black woman spoke about how the Women's March that day was flawed because the message was completely about voting, and like voting is really just one thing you can do, but you can do many things. Like there's a bunch of things you can do to make change, but voting is just like one small thing. And she thought that the movement should be like more about like everything we can do. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. And so it kind of painted like the mainstream Women's March as like kind of corporate or like not, or like out of touch. You know, maybe more upper, not upper class, but snobby, kind of like, you know, not really caring that much. But yeah. And yeah, but there were a bunch of organizations there with women, a bunch of women from different organizations, and they were all talking about like a new system, like a whole new government, like a whole new system. And I thought that was based. And yeah, and then of course a little while ago, not a little while after that, but yeah, a little while ago, I did buy this book on like critical race theory. It actually talks about like intersectionality and like black women as an example of intersectionality, and they have unique issues they face as like being black and being a woman and being like a black woman, the intersections, different issues than just being a woman in general or just being a black person in general. They, you know what I'm saying? Like, in that's pretty cool. And it made sense why Black Lives Matter would want to host that meeting, because they're all about like critical race theory and stuff like that. But I guess, I don't know. But yeah, that was cool. And then like throughout my time at the student newspaper, we covered feminism a lot. It was one of the biggest things going on at the time. So I wrote some stories about interviewing women from different organizations and stuff like that, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, anyway, and also in college, I knew I needed to know more about feminism. Because I was covering it in all these stories. So I read this. It was a short book, but I read this book on like the history of the feminist movement, and it just explained all the different waves of feminism. You have first wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave. You know what I'm saying? It just explained all the waves. And I think all the waves of feminism are important, and I really just think of them all together as feminism as a whole. That's how I go about thinking in my daily life. But yeah, I don't want to talk shit about any specific wave or say this wave was better than that wave or whatever. I think it's all important, and really to me it's all feminism. So yeah. But yeah, and then when it comes to like transgender women, I think that's fine. I'm all right with that. Again, it's common sense. I mean, some people really feel that they are a different gender than the one associated with the physical body they have, or whatever, however you want to put that. But it's a real psychological thing that has been studied, and it's true. It's just true. Like there's no disputing it. And we have the technology for people to get the body they want, and so we should use this technology we have to make people who are experiencing a certain psychological state better with their psychological state. It's just medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not even, I don't even know what people's problems with it is. And I mean, if you actually look it up, despite what conservatives may think, only 1% of the population is actually transgender. So this idea that it's like this, it's taking over all of society and it's gonna, that's just nonsense. Don't believe it. Don't believe the hype. I mean, it's just like, that is so stupid to me, and I don't think it's rational at all. I think it's completely irrational. So yeah. But anyway, in general, I think basically women should be able to do anything men do, and I think that they can be better than men at it in many cases. And I always think about like when people say like, like women should be given more opportunities at different types of employment or whatever. People may say that, and then other people be like, oh, I don't want to be forced to hire a woman. I want to be able to hire the best candidate for the job. It's like, do you even ever think that maybe a woman would be the best candidate for the job? That's just common sense, because humans are all equal and we all are just humans, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's just common sense that maybe a woman might be better for the job. And also, how hard is that job really to do anyway? How hard of a job is it really? I mean, people say that about really stupid jobs. It's just like anyone can do that job, so why do you even care? Like yeah. And yeah, and I think like both men and women should help each other raise the child equally. And I don't want the type of marriage where the woman does all the cooking and the cleaning and shit. I'll be happy to help equally, whatever, cooking, cleaning, help with all of it equally. I don't really care. That just makes sense. And ideally, we'd both work. Ideally, we'd both have jobs. I don't have an issue with women working. I think it'd be awesome to have girlfriend that also had a job, because we'd have more money together, just be able to do more things. So, yeah. And I think women are just as capable at being political leaders. And if women are going to be equal, it means they need to be represented equally. This is why I talked about that I studied those gender quotas in when I was studying political science. I think that um, I think that we need women in political positions more. There are a lot of women in political positions, but 28% of Congress is women. I Googled that. 28% of Congress is women. And I would like to see that go even higher. And I wouldn't even care if it was mostly women. I seriously wouldn't, because we're all humans, at the end of the day. That is what is common sense to me. And yeah, but you all know truly that I'm an anarchist. So getting away from like the Congress, whatever, all that bullshit. I am an anarchist, and anarchists believe in abolishing hierarchies, and patriarchy is a hierarchy, and some would even say gender as a whole is a hierarchy. So I mean, this is where you get into all that really philosophical stuff, which I don't know enough about. I know a lot about like anarchist philosophy, but I don't know a lot about like feminist philosophy and shit like that. Maybe I don't know. I know a little bit about anarcha feminist stuff. I've read a little bit of that, but mostly I just know about regular old anarchism. But yeah, this is where you get into all that stuff, and there's some people that know a lot about that stuff, and I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty trippy, but yeah. But obviously, at the end of the day, as an anarchist, states have always been run by men. So maybe states are the whole issue. That's just my opinion. Maybe if you got rid of states, things would just be better for women, because obviously patriarchy is supported by the state. And so if the patriarchy is supported by the state that's filled with men, that's always been filled with men, then maybe your whole issue is the state. Just saying. That's not too crazy, I don't think. But yeah, there's a lot of feminist philosophy out there that I need to read more of. But anyway, yeah. And the last thing I want to say is that feminists and most other people on the left are actually usually pretty chill people. They're more chill than you think they are. And you don't need to buy into all the propaganda that the media spins about them being lunatics and crazy and all that. They're just they're normal people. Everyone's just a normal person. That's what you got to get through your head, that everyone is just a normal person. Like literally no one is really this crazy caricature that you think of them as, that may be presented to you on social media. I mean, and actually just talk to them, and you'll find that they're not so different, and that there's a lot more things you can say than you think you can say. You think you can't say all this stuff. You think you're going to get canceled. You think there's a lot you can't express. But I go on Discord. I talk to people all the time from the left and the right, and even the leftists are just as normal and have just as much. Sometimes they have just as much offensive things to say. They can be just as offensive, and you can say more than you think you can say, and why don't you try talking to them and seeing that, and you'll see that maybe they're not so crazy. Like you don't have to worry about being canceled. You don't have to buy into all like the propaganda. They make fun of like woke people too, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's all, but that is one thing I want to say. Like you have more freedom of speech than you think you do. You can talk about more than you think you can talk about. Just don't feed in. You will meet, there's lines you don't want to cross, obviously, and you will meet crazy people anywhere of any ideology, but I mean, for the most part, everyone's just a normal human, so you don't got to be so paranoid. Anyway, that was my video about feminism, I guess, and in honor of Women's History Month, and yeah, so feminism is pretty cool. I like feminism, and I would say you should too. Pretty based, actually. But that's all I have for today. Peace.